Keys to the Commonwealth, a podcast where we share the real stories of local community members who are using real estate to build personal wealth, along with tips and tricks from professionals across the industry. And now, your host, Landry Fields.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Keys to the Commonwealth episode podcast. Today's guest I've got with me today, I'm super excited about. He's been in the real estate game since 2010 as a realtor, and then in 2015 began transitioning to flipping homes in Las Vegas, where he currently resides, along with his beautiful wife and two kids. Since then, he has flipped hundreds of homes, purchased hundreds of rentals, and opened other multi-million-dollar businesses, amassing over 1 million followers on social media, where he teaches others how to build wealth and freedom. His new book, The Wealthy Way, comes out December 13th, so make sure you pick it up. I'm honored to welcome Ryan Pineda to the Keys to the Commonwealth studio. Ryan, my man, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, Landry, thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, first non-interview in person, so you get that honor going forward, and so that's why I was like, we got to switch this to video now. So go all in on the social, documentation of everything like you do so well at. But yeah, we kind of start out every episode just kind of hopping back in the door and kind of tell us a little bit more about how you got into the real estate game, using that as a form of wealth and so forth.
Yeah, I'm sure some of your viewers might know my story, but I'll give a quick recap of it. I got into real estate back in 2010 as a realtor. I was 21 years old at the time, and I didn't really care to be a realtor. It was just kind of out of necessity. I was also a pro baseball player, so I got drafted by the Oakland A's. And, being a realtor was just trying to make some side income while I was in the minor leagues making peanuts. As time went on, I realized I hated being a realtor. I didn't really work well at showing houses, and I would get really frustrated when people wouldn't buy houses because I knew they were good deals.
Right.
And I eventually just walked away from real estate. I got tired of it. And I just, continued to play baseball and continued to kind of have side hustles. I started what's now famous couch flipping.
Yep.
And, that was a good source of income. And I did that for a few years. I was also a substitute teacher. And
okay. Didn't know that about you.
Yeah. And then eventually in 2015, I started flipping houses. And it was just kind of this God moment where I felt like God was calling me to go back into real estate, even though I had failed. And this time on the investing side. And so, I still didn't have money. I had $10,000 saved up, and, I'd learned about these things called hard money loans and wholesalers and things that I never knew as a realtor. And I said, you know what? I can find a good deal. I can figure out how to fix it up. Like, I just need the money. So these hard money guys, these are my answer. So I ended up finding a deal. I didn't have enough for the down payment, so I went out and maxed out my credit cards, my wife and my credit cards, by the way.
Which she's the same, because I'm sure my wife would not let me do that for sure. If we did that.
Yeah, we're both very pro risk.
Okay.
We're okay with risk. And, because at the time too, like, people asked me about that part, and they're like, dude, were you guys scared? And we were like, honestly, there was like very little downside of, we're broke either way. Like, what do we have to lose? If we lose, we lose. Who cares?
Right.
So that was kind of our attitude. And thankfully, the first deal ended up working out. We made $25,000. And, from there, I just kept rolling profits into the next deal. I kept maxing out credit cards. And, sure enough, we did 5 that first year, did 20 the next year, 50 the year after that, and then 150 in year 4. And
at what point did you have to kind of start taking on more of like a team aspect and kind of growing that out?
In year 4 was when we really started building out a team, and in year 3, when we did 50, it was just me and one other guy. So it wasn't even like this crazy operation or anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you have,
I think today, we got lots of businesses.
6 businesses, right?
We have 550 properties under management. We have, we still flip good amount of houses. But now it's interesting because, I love real estate and we're still very, very good at it. But I'm more so interested in a lot of other industries.
Yeah, it's created time and opportunity to kind of explore, because I feel like you're very entrepreneurial, like myself in some ways, where I'm always kind of thinking about new ideas, new concepts, new dreams. Hey, what's there's something missing here. Is there an answer for that that's not been thought of?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So Wealthy Way, wealthyway.com, the Wealthy Way book. Talk to me a little bit about what spearheaded that, where that's going, what the design and purpose is for that.
Yeah. So, I started realizing there was this need in the entrepreneur space where, a lot of people were just asking me, hey, Ryan, this was last year. They're like, how do you manage all these businesses? How are you still working out and staying in shape? It looks like your family life is great. You're like holding Bible studies and like, how is it even possible?
How are you not losing it?
I struggle to just run one business and have one, I'm married and trying to just figure that out. I can't imagine how you do it all. And so I was like, well, there's a lot that goes into it. And I would try to explain it. And I really started to think through my head, like, man, how do I do this? Like, if I had to make this into like a process, what does the process look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sure enough, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it. I'm going to make a course and teach people how to do this. And so, I made a course at the end of 2021. And as I was making it, I'm like, man, this would be a killer business. There's a lot of people that need self-development, all this stuff. I was like, I could make coaching around. I could do a lot of things. And as I was going through it, I kind of just felt God telling me like, nah, you need to just give it all away. And I was like, all right, like, that's what I'll do then. So I made the course and I just gave it away. I was like, I'll just give it to everyone. Along with that, I made a software that is a planner, and my team spent a lot of time and money creating it, and I just said, we could charge a recurring for this if we wanted to, but I'll just give it away. And I just gave all of it away with no real expectation of anything. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, I have no problem selling you. Like I will sell you right now in a business, but when I tell you like this has no upsell or intention behind it of like that, it's like, it's true. So, we did it, and sure enough, like the feedback was tremendous. We had like 30,000 people go through the course, and,
this was last year or this year. Okay.
Yep. And then we had, and I don't even promote it, by the way. Like people were like, what, there's a free course? Like I always forget to talk about it.
Cause I became familiar with you earlier this year when you were on one of the other bigger known real estate podcasts. But no, that's when. So I'm still kind of learning who Ryan Pineda is in a lot of ways. So I know a lot of other people here.
I just don't even talk about it because I honestly wanted to see just how it would organically play out, like word of mouth and people finding it and stuff. So anyways, long story short, kind of just released it to the world, said, hey, enjoy it, do what you want. And we went about that way. Now that I have data and I can see just kind of how people interact and, the impact, I was like, okay, now let's go to phase 2. So, phase 2 is starting off with the book. And I spent the last year writing the book behind the scenes. Once again, living the wealthy way. How did I write a book? Doing all this other stuff. It's like part of the wealthy way. It's how you live. And so, wrote the book. We're releasing it December 13th. We're taking the software we created and turning it into a mobile app. So now the planner will be on mobile app.
Really?
And, it's going to be really cool with a ton of other features. We also rebranded the podcast, my podcast, into the Wealthy Way.
How long had you been doing the podcast prior to rebranding the Wealthy Way?
Probably like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yep.
So really just kind of taking the idea of putting it into multiple platforms for people to access on whatever way they want to do it in some ways.
Yeah. I just want people to find out the methods and the philosophy of like really what, the wealthy way is, because too many people are they're following the wrong things. And I'll jump into that here in a sec. But, long story short, we're going into phase 2 now. I think the book is going to be great for a lot of people. We're selling it for $1 on Kindle. That's the cheapest. Like, I just want it to be out there.
Yeah.
And I also created a second course called Business Builder Academy, teaching people how to start businesses, how to market, sell, operations, pick your product, branding, logos, hiring, firing, everything you need to know about starting a business is in there. And I'm giving that away for free to those who buy the book and leave a review. That's it.
Would have been nice to have 4 years ago, but
well, it will still be nice for you today.
Absolutely.
I guarantee
'Cause
there's
I remember
a lot
I graphic designed the logo. I put the business plan together. I mean, doing everything from scratch. It's a lot, but I mean,
It's a
going through
lot.
it's
This
been
course
awesome
is going to
too.
teach anyone how to start a business from scratch and
Yeah.
come up with your idea and like pricing and all that stuff. So,
Put a price to your value in essence, in a lot of ways.
well, how to also create value,
Yeah.
create perceived value. Like the value of this course is really high based on what I've created to this point, right? If I was
Sure.
just some bum who created a course, then you're like, yeah, I don't know if this is worth too much. So, long story short, we're going into this next phase. I'm super excited about it. We're working on a lot of other things under the Wealthy Way brand.
Yeah.
But, for those wondering what the Wealthy Way is, I keep talking about it. The motto is don't go broke trying to get rich.
Yeah.
And it was this thing where I just saw so many
Unless you're already
entrepreneurs.
broke, then you can't go any further.
Well, you can go further. I mean, you could be broke financially and
Well, I was going
lose
to
your
referring back to
family,
maxing
lose
out
your
credit
health.
cards and stuff, but
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the whole thing. Being wealthy and being broke is not strictly a financial thing. And this is where people
100%.
get tripped up.
Yeah.
So, for me, I said, look, a lot of people are trying to become rich and they're going broke in other areas of life.
Yeah. It's
They're
not just monetary value of money when it comes to the
they're
wealthy
fat,
way.
they're out of shape,
Yeah.
they're, not taking care of their health. They don't have any kind of spiritual relationship with God. They, are neglecting their family.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like hustle culture and YouTube and entrepreneurs will tell you, hey, you have to sacrifice to be successful. You have to do this. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't do it. I'm pretty good. Like, I think there's other ways to be successful. And I think how you prioritize what success actually is and how you reframe that in your mind is, how you view yourself and the success you're having. And so the Wealthy Way talks about, really how to create a lifestyle of having abundance in all these different areas. Because I think when you're good in all the other areas, it makes making money easy.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
And again, you can be wealthy in other areas of life other than just money. I mean, that's, I think, part of what you probably present or look towards as well. Because you have an acronym, I believe, part of that, right?
Yep. The wealth acronym is W for worship, E for education, A for affluence, L for lifestyle, T for team, and H for health. And so we create frameworks and goals around each of those letters. Like, look, I'm not over here saying too, I want you to be frugal and all this crap. Like, I want you to have an epic lifestyle where you get to enjoy vacations with the family. You drive the car you want to drive, but you're still, going to church and you're still taking care of yourself. You're still being a good dad. Like, all of that is equally as important as, well, some are more important than others. But the point is, like, it's very important to be on all those things.
I appreciate my wife a lot. Honestly, starting the business kind of helped me, I think, guard against a lot of those things early on, because it's so easy to start something and then get sucked right into past, like, you're working, till 8 p.m. and, you're not being able to check out and spend time with the family or really spend weekends together or get up and, you start sacrificing, like you said, your health or other stuff like that. So I'm pretty thankful for her for helping me in that early stages for sure.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah. And then, so one of the ways I've gotten, unless there's more, you got more to that, do you want to kind of dive into with that or kind of talk more about
well,
what some
I
of the
think
other things you're doing?
the other part about it is once you understand what wealth is, how do you actually go about getting it, right? Because it's like, of course I want to look good and, have a better relationship with my family, make a lot of money. Everybody wants that, but how do you do it?
Right.
And so we talk about the framework of how to go about it, how to schedule properly, how to identify the tasks that need to get accomplished, how to get your priorities in check, how to delegate better, how to, develop better discipline and take more action. And so, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm learning it. I'm right in the middle of it. Maybe not even in the middle of it. I'm more in the growing early season for sure as I'm starting to offboard more responsibilities off of my plate to kind of delegate. And that's a whole process itself, having the trust to give the responsibility to someone else, especially for me where I'm can be very controlling, or I think a lot of business owners who start businesses can be very controlling and trying to, the ability to give up some of those things to other people and trust them to do it well is another task I'm learning right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the ways we've talked about on the show a few things with what you're doing, which is the tyke side of things, and that's really what kind of drew me in when you were talking about that. That's one of those things when I see something like that's kind of out of left field. I want to keep my eye on that. What's going on with that? Which is kind of obviously the way we kind of got this podcast put together here. But with the tykes thing, talk a little bit about that. What was spearheaded behind the tykes idea, which is using NFTs and kind of creating a Web3 blockchain real estate marriage kind of community and seeing where that goes.
Yeah, I think everybody saw the crypto and NFT craze last year. I was a part of it and investing and buying NFTs and other things and just understanding the tech. Now, obviously, since then, things have crashed. But, it's not just crypto. It's like the stock market's crashed, crypto crashed, real estate's kind of declining a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny to point at crypto when it's like, yeah, Amazon also crashed like 60%. Yeah. Like all these things are busted. So, the more I looked at crypto, I got into it in 2017. I just bought Bitcoin just to buy it.
Yeah.
And then I followed it and, became more educated. And the more I learned about smart contracts and NFTs and what actually is happening behind the scenes, the more I realized I'm like, this is it. Like, this is where the next wave of technology is. And if you just look at all forms of tech, it takes a long time for adoption. The internet starting in the 90s, today it's very different. People were like, why would you want your business on the internet? It's like, oh, I don't know. It's probably going to be pretty important in the coming years, right?
Yeah.
Then you see, mobile apps. People aren't going to go desktop to mobile. Desktop is where it's at. It's like, nah, everything's mobile. Then you see social media, right? This was the one that I caught really, a few years ago where I'm like, guys, you don't get it. This TikTok thing, this YouTube thing, all of it is super important, way more important than you think as an entrepreneur. And, I took it serious and it's played really well, but I think it's still going to continue to just get bigger and bigger.
Well, I know Alex Hormozy. I mean, you had him. I was listening to him the other day. I mean, he was talking about that being the kind of the gas or the fuel, just the attention aspect, and attention itself will be that driving factor for your businesses or brands going forward.
1,000%. And I've been saying that for years. He says it way better than how I say it. But anyways, I just lead with my actions. I'm like, this is where I'm headed because I know this is where things are going. So Web3 and crypto, 1,000%. It is going to happen. Real estate is going to change dramatically. Now, how fast this happens is going to be up for debate. I don't know how quickly it's going to take for adoption to happen.
Yeah.
But what I do know is if I can build the community and set the foundation and spearhead that movement when it's ready, I'm going to make a killing. Yeah. So...
Because I love it because there could be fractional investing in real estate in a lot of ways, a decentralization from having to have true, accredited investors or being able to kind of find other areas of investing for those who aren't just always accredited. I've got ideas. I live obviously in the heart of bourbon country. I'm not sure if you're a bourbon guy or not. If not,
come on, dude. I crush old fashions.
Oh, no. I like old fashions, but we got to get you to Kentucky and actually there's a lot of good bourbon. I've got way too much bourbon. I'll just say that. But
hey, people, you can send me one of your Kentucky bourbons to my office. People send me them all the time.
There you go. So I mean, but huge. Everybody travels here in Kentucky for that. I mean, it's crazy. You would go to a distillery. I didn't even understand it. So grew up in Kentucky, obviously, Lexington, heart of thoroughbreds, basketball, college basketball, and bourbon, basically, right?
Right.
I would go to these distilleries finally, like after college and stuff like that, and tour. I'm like, I'd be the only person from Kentucky on these tours. And I started realizing this is like the wine country vineyard tourism of Napa Valley, just in bourbon form, and how many people are coming to Kentucky for this. And I had no idea about that. And so really wanted to start looking at capitalizing on some really cool ideas I've got in real estate involved with that. But we'll see. But I think the idea of Web3 with the NFTs or crypto or fractional investing through blockchain in real estate could be a really cool opportunity for those that want to do something like that or are not accredited or something like that. It's like your NFT was the first one I've ever owned because I saw there was value or something behind it other than just hype, in that sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's done really well. I think it's going to continue to grow. I mean, look, It was the number one NFT on OpenSea.
Mm-hmm.
It has crushed in a bear market. We've delivered more than other projects in just 2 months than they have in their entire existence.
Yeah, you did.
And we're just getting started. Our big event is January 9th to the 12th, and I expect over 1,000 people there, real estate and crypto related. And nobody's ever done it. Like, it's just like,
right.
I don't know. I like doing things nobody's ever done.
I know. That's what drew me into it and stuff like that. So what's next for it after that? Real quick,
For Tykes?
Yeah.
What's after? So the main thing
is it going to be tradable as far as the Ty coin itself with other currencies at some point, or will it all kind of stay there?
Yeah. So, Tycoin, there's lots of plans for that. And Tyke's the brand overall, but eventually I want Tycoin to be, a coin that is very heavily, I guess, exchanged. It's got good volume, because people see the value in it with using it on our Tykes marketplace for our Tyke shares. Eventually we're going to allow it for investing and other things. So there's plans for that. And yeah, our next big thing is releasing the Tyke tank so that we can start, the process of building / buying these businesses and other things. So I'm
excited for that too. I'm a little bit ways away from some of my ideas, but I plan to hit the Tyke tank and see where we can go with this.
Hey, throw your insurance company up there, man. We might buy it.
Well, that's a different. There's some things with some certain carriers I have that you don't have out west that make that very different than most as far as buying insurance agencies. But there could be aspects of that for sure. But yeah, you never know. But hey, I know you're a busy guy, so I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate you coming on the show in that sense and talking about the Wealthy Way. Again, check it out. December 13th, it's going to be coming out. And then when's the app coming out potentially?
We're going to hopefully be finishing the app by the end of December, get it ready for the new year.
Okay.
But if you want to get the book and that free course I was telling you guys about, you can go to wealthywaybook.com.
Wealthywaybook.com. Ryan, appreciate you, man. Love what you're doing. And we'll check everybody back for season 2 next year on the Keys to the Commonwealth podcast.
To learn more about this podcast, visit our page at keystothecommonwealth.com. To connect with Landry regarding insuring your investment portfolio, email Landry at novainsuranceGroup.com or call 859-687-2004.